to order.
Okay.
All right, Nia Walters, our legal counsel, did you have,
Do we need,
is there anything you wanted to share tonight before we begin, or?
Sure. There are a couple things that I want to share. So tonight we will begin the journey to drawing our maps, or you all's maps rather, not my maps, but yours. And so we are going to be working with the Esri software like we did last week. This is a blank new map, so you can see all of the things that are on the map here. And so I don't know, how you guys envision like kind of going about this process in terms of how you wanted to start off. I know that Chair Moore printed off some copies of the Columbus Communities maps. I think he is going to distribute or has distributed to you all. I know that last week when we chatted, you all had some concerns about, drawing the maps and how that was going to go. So an attempt to kind of allay some fears and some concerns. I think the process will not be as difficult as you guys are imagining it being. It will be a difficult process, drawing the maps and figuring out the lines. But I think, you guys were selected because you guys are more than capable of getting this done. So I believe in you. And, I know we talked about last week, we talked about trying to think of the maps and how we want to think about it. And I know that you asked for some kind of suggestions on how to kind of get started or where to kind of start at. I mean, my best advice would be to start clustering the neighborhoods together and start thinking of how you want to cluster them together into their districts and kind of just looking at that. Obviously, you won't have the population numbers exactly, so that will adjust whether or not, your planned clusters are going to actually work, but you'll be able to start seeing some of that when you're playing with the maps today. I've been with you guys every step of the way this far, and I will continue to do that, so I'm here to help and be as useful as possible. So if there are questions, concerns, we will be doing these working sessions for the remainder of this month and August. So feel free to ask me as many questions as your heart desires. I will do my best to answer them. But we are ready for this. We have done the work. As you all know, this survey closed on Friday. We had roughly 2,400 responses, so pretty good on a topic that may not be as sexy as people would like. So excited to see that. We are working with Murphy Epson, who helped us create and disseminate the survey, and they will be producing a report. An expected draft report will be to us by August 3rd, and the final report by August 13th. But we will be able to kind of start digging into the data and stuff that is in the report once we get that August 3rd draft. So those are my main updates. Are there any questions for me, Commissioner Paul?
will the report that Murphy Epson is putting together for us be organized by geography?
It will be organized based on the questions that were asked, and they will kind of put together that information into a report form. And so there'll be like bar graphs and different pie charts and things to kind of like aggregate all that data. Some of it will be by geography in terms of like, we ask questions like, are you represented by area commission? So it'll show who's, the percentage of people that fill out that answer are represented by those different area commissions. There'll be some age data, race data, all of the questions that are on the survey, for lack of better words. Is that helpful?
I think so. I was just curious, since, again, a lot of our work is going to be very much focused on geography, on if we were, let's say, thinking about the areas around the hilltop, if we were able to focus on the responses that came from the hilltop, rather than have them sort of be scattered throughout the report. But
I think they will be scattered throughout the report because I don't know that it's a way to pull out, people self-identify. And so, and that can create a little bit of confusion because, some people will say, I live, south of Broad. Some people will say, I live in another area. And to them, each area is a different area, but as a general matter, it's considered the same collective area.
okay, well, a little.
I don't know if that was helpful, but.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, are there any other questions, concerns before we start to get started?
Is this supposed to be aired right now?
We should be airing now.
I don't see it. Okay.
It It should be.
All right, I'll trust that it is.
Are you seeing it on Facebook?
No, I have the Facebook Live up.
Okay. Is it saying that it's starting?
Or
It says
he's
it starts at 5:30, but
still
It's
seeing the logo
5:36.
slide.
what's that?
Still seeing the logo slide.
Yep.
Okay.
This says you'll be able to watch it when it goes live, but it hasn't started.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they should have went live because it says they'll go live once we start talking.
Okay.
I will pause, put a pin in it until I know that it's actually live to make sure the public has accurate results. And if it's not, then I'll probably repeat all the things I just said to you so that it's in the record.
Start over.
39, 44.
If it's not live, I can call Andy. Okay.
Yeah, I've got the logo slide too.
Yeah, 'cause I had asked Miss Angela, and she said that if it's supposed to start at 5:30, they'll be ready to go at 5:30. I know Andy's by himself today, I believe.
Yeah, the YouTube, it's not live on YouTube yet either.
Oh, there we are.
Yes.
Are we live now? We're live. Lucy, they say we're live. Okay. Chair Moore, would you like to get us started?
All right. At this time, I'm going to call today's working meeting to order. And we'll begin with a series of opening remarks from our legal counsel, Nia Walters.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for being here today. So there's a couple things. Today is the official start of our map drawing process. I know you guys are eager to dig into all of the information and get started on drawing these maps. So there's a couple of things. The survey, we'll start there. So the survey officially closed on Friday. We had roughly 2,400 responses to our survey, so that was great. The information in the survey will be hopefully to us in draft form by August 3rd, with the final draft of the report being ready and here to us by August 13th. But the August 3rd will give us the opportunity to kind of start digging into the data and getting to know all the information we collected. It'll be a series of pie charts and bar graphs and written responses of things that are important to community members as you all begin to draw the maps. So that's like the biggest thing. We're going to continue to work with Esri. Melissa and I had some great follow-ups regarding the Esri system. So I know that there were a little bit of concerns about how this process was going to work and where to start at. And so in my honest opinion, I would say just start by thinking of how to cluster the neighborhoods, understanding that the population data is going to have to correspond to those clusters. So your cluster might not be that exact cluster, but it will be similar, hopefully, based on how you guys are starting to put together the maps. You all were selected for this job, so I know that you can do it, and I will be here to help every step of the way. So please pester me with as many questions and thoughts as you would like. I'm here to help. In my conversations with Melissa, I did also want to put out that she threw a suggestion out to me of whether or not we should do 3 maps on the first go around or just 1 map. And the reason why she suggested maybe doing 1 map is because the data that we're going to be using is the 2010 census data. And with that, we know that's not the final data. We're going to end up using 2020 census data. And so she suggested potentially doing 1 map using that data. And so I was interested in getting you all's feedback on that and what your thoughts were with that.
So what you're asking is if when we finish our first map, are we going to be committed to doing 2 more right at the same time? Or would we want to go ahead and more deeply examine the first map that we create?
So what I'm asking is that, when you submit your final maps to council, you'll submit three maps
Right.
to council. But because the data you're going to be using in this first set of maps, or this first map, is going to be 2010 data, she was saying, do you all want to, this is a question rather, do you all want to, this is a question rather, to create 3 separate maps, knowing that the data that you're using is outdated data and it's not going to be the final data, it's going to be the 2020 data that you will use going forward?
Got it.
And so, do you want to create 3 separate maps using data that you know that is not going to be utilized going
Now,
forward?
when we think we finished our first map, or have something that we're pretty comfortable with, that triggers a public comment period, is that right? A 30-day feedback period?
So it will, when you guys unveil the maps, which our expected date is September 1st, then that will trigger the public comment and review period. So the public comment review period will start on September 1st,
Right,
and then it will run until September 30th.
okay. When are we required to submit our first draft? The draft that we're talking about, whether we would just produce 1 or whether we would produce 3?
That's the September 1st draft.
Okay,
And I chose September 1st because it'll allow us to get public comment review and then do other sets of maps, considering that we're not going to have the census data until the 30th of September likely, or it's a chance that we may get it a little sooner, so my fingers are crossed that we will get it sooner. But in any account, we won't have that data, but I want to make sure that we're getting something out to the public so that way they don't feel kind of bum rushed in the last 2 months of the process and they've seen something.
So the purpose of our September 1 map or maps is to solicit community feedback anyway. It makes sense to me that we only do 1 map rather than 3 because people would feel the need to respond to 3 separate maps with virtually the same or similar comments. So if we just have 1 draft map out there September 1, I think that's a simpler way of generating community feedback.
keeps it simple.
Yeah.
Allows them to maybe focus on the details instead of trying to
Yeah,
kind of play, what's the difference between the 3?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you'll submit 3 maps to council anyway, but it may, and this is really up to you all, it may make more sense to kind of hone in on drawing 3 maps when you have the final data that you know you're going to use going forward, instead of,
And I think that's a good target, although I think we should reserve the right to do more than 1 if we get to that point and say, I kind of like this one better than that one, so.
yeah, I mean, I think we can reserve that right. I just have to talk with Melissa about creating an additional test environment that will allow me to do more than 1 map, because currently we're in a test environment, and she's not going to put us into like a real environment until we have the updated data.
Okay.
She and I discussed that yesterday.
let me say, I think when we had our meeting last week, was it last week?
It was.
It was, it's been a long week. That again, at least speaking for myself, my concerns about the process and the technology and so forth, I hope you didn't feel were personally directed at you. They really were not. I think we have confidence in you. I'm still concerned, and maybe again, because we don't know exactly the timeline with which we'll be able to move forward, if we were to find ourselves not making the kind of progress that we want to make, for whatever reason, do we have the option of meeting more frequently than once a week? Not saying any of us necessarily want to do that, but is that an option? And in fact, might it be a necessity in order to keep to our timetable?
That is an option. I don't know that it will be a necessity. I think it just depends on how efficiently we're able to utilize
Yep.
the hours that we have each week. But it's not a problem to do that. It's just a matter of letting me know that that's what you would like to do, so that I can get the proper channels in place so that we can abide by our requirements to have it open to the public.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I could see how that might be necessary once we get the census data,
Yeah.
because we have a shorter window. Until then, I don't know that we would need to
Yeah,
meet multiple.
and I think once we get the census data, you all will have some other decisions to make in terms of how many times you want the maps to go out. Because there is potential for the maps to go out at a maximum of 3 times, with the understanding that the third time is going to be a flat, like what's there is what's there, and that's what's going to be submitted to council. So I did create an alternative schedule that would allow us to do that. And with the alternative schedule, it would be the maps going out on September 1st, coming back out on the 30th, then going back out about 2 weeks after, which, oh snaps.
Oops.
I don't know what just happened.
No, I think we're still live online.
We appear to be, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I think the computer went to sleep. That scared me, sorry. Anyways, sorry about that. It would go out a 2-week period, so let's say October 15th. That is a very quick turnaround, and so it may require us meeting a little bit more frequently. And then the maps would go out again for 30 days, so October 15th to November 15th, and then spending a week, maybe meeting a couple times during that week and making changes or just, small tweaks. And then from that point, that would be like December 20, that would be like November 21st or 22nd. And then the maps going out again and coming out right before Christmas. And then you all would vote on them, and then council would vote, and we would meet our December 31st timeline. I know that that's not an ideal timeline, but I considered that the public will only see the maps once with the 2020 data if we just put them out 2 times. And so they'll be able to give public comment and review on that second set, but if we only put them out twice, we get that public comment review and we don't make any additional changes. Because if we make additional changes to the map has to go out again for another 30-day period. And so that's why I kind of put in potentially 3. It just really depends on how this process goes.
Right.
But the maps themselves, because of the requirements of the charter, they have a little bit tighter constraints in terms of how many different ways the maps can be created. So keeping all that in mind, I just wanted to share that information as well.
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Please.
So, okay, thinking about how this would move forward. So we work on this one map, our sort of first draft. We come up with our first draft. We agree that we are ready to kind of turn it loose, and it goes out for public comment. We've talked about various places it can go on signboards and online and so forth. 30 days to gather public input, but in the meantime, we're still working.
We
Right.
can be, yeah.
You can be. You can be still working. It really just depends, what you all are comfortable doing.
And I guess my question as a follow-up to that is, how and when will we receive the results of the public comment period in terms of getting the feedback that would inform our subsequent work on the maps to incorporate suggestions, ideas, objections from the public as to what they've seen on that first draft?
So we talked about this a little bit last week with Melissa, and she said that they can put a link at least on the website. So that's why I know that we talked about placing the map in several locations in different ways. But in order to get the feedback, the website is going to be the most key place for residents to submit their feedback. They can go in electronically, and then we can receive that and kind of export that in like an Excel document and kind of pour over that document and see, what's the comments that the public has left and how we want to incorporate those, or what your thoughts are about the comments. the public
So
left.
unlike the survey where Murphy Epson is digesting the data, cross-linking and doing all kinds of analysis, we'll mostly just be getting raw data from comments collected from public viewings of the first draft. And we can just read that narrative basically, as opposed to having to wait for someone else to prepare a report.
That's correct, and it'll be that way for all of the drafts going forward. The Murphy Epson report was based off the survey.
Yeah.
This will be primarily people just saying, like this, don't like this, think there could be tweaks here, things there could be tweaks there, and you all taking that information into account, being mindful of, what you're getting and, what the requirements are and whether that's something you all agree with or like, appreciate the thought, but that's not possible for X, Y, and Z reason.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Are there any additional questions for me? Well,
Are we prepared to draw?
it's time. The floor is yours. This is where you guys get to do the fun work.
Okay, I guess I do have a question then. So on this
Okay,
map that we're looking at, on the map that we're looking at, the yellow is the city of Columbus, like like the city limits?
And what I'm gonna do is I will turn off some of the layers so that you can see it a little better. So now you can see this, and then we start zooming in to see closer things.
Okay, and then the map that we're looking at of Columbus communities, so these aren't commissions necessarily, so everything that we're seeing here is represented by a community on this page?
So if I do Columbus Communities, I can put that layer back in. So this is the Columbus Communities layer. So that is that map there.
But is all of the city included on, I don't know if I'm asking the question right, because I know that some of the commissions all the areas don't include a commission. But
Right.
does this include all of the city?
Columbus Communities, I believe, covers all the communities in the city because it's not an area commission map. The area commission maps would be like, it would be this map. So this is area commission, so you can see what's in the pink. Those are all things that are represented by area commissions. But the communities map covers the entire community, which you all can see on that map you have.
So logistically, if I gave you a number of a Columbus community, you could find it on there or no?
I could
A
find,
name?
I could find it by the shape because I can look on the version of the Columbus Communities maps that I have. So I would be able to identify it.
Yeah.
Like, I think this one is Clintonville, I believe, when I looked at it
Yep,
last
that
week.
is Clintonville.
So you would kind of just be looking at
So-
the map and identifying.
If I was interested in seeing what the numbers would look like, if Clintonville, North Linden, Northeast, University District, were combined, if I was interested in seeing those numbers, is that a possibility?
You wouldn't be able to see the numbers directly, but I could take the square and draw a district over
Yeah.
that district, and then you would be able to get a
Got it.
rough number. I'm looking for the Columbus Communities map, and as soon as I pull it up, I will.
Do you,
We have extras.
yeah, do you want a copy?
Oh, yeah, we do.
That's helpful. Yeah, I can see it on here as well. So this is like what this is that same map.
Oh, that's helpful.
I'll take a copy of that. That way I can like grab.
Here you are, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes.
So Naya, from our follow-up from last week, when you followed up with the technology people, so just to confirm, you're not able to pool a district based off of those already pre-established boundaries and pool the population data?
We cannot, is my understanding.
Okay.
I can go in on this. The way that she described it is that I can like use a polygon, and so I can kind of outline the polygon, and it will tell me what's inside my polygon, but not from this map.
When Melissa was doing the demonstration, at some point, she was able to open, I think on the left-hand pane, actually a list of the communities, the Columbus communities. Do we know how to get to that?
Let me see.
Yeah, there has to be a way to look at the source data.
Yeah.
I haven't used the web-based, I've only used the actual software.
She emailed me some directions today, so I'm gonna open that up.
How do they get to that?
Okay. I think that I found what you're looking for. Because she sent me, I was like, I know she sent me something about this, but I couldn't remember exactly what. So I'm going to go to the Create ribbon, and then I'm going to click the Identify, let's see, District, let's see, District 1. And then I'm going to go to the Identify tool. Drop.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. I think I remember under Identify From, if you pull down that drop-down, where are the choices? Yeah,
Yes.
there we go. All right, so now what?
All right.
Ah, aha. Okay, and so there it looks like assign to at the bottom, that you could assign it, in this case, we're looking,
It lines up directly.
yeah,
Right.
So then we could assign it to quote-unquote draft district. So if we're like, okay, we just want to play in that quadrant, we call it District 1 and select the ones around it. And then if we wanted to move to a different one, we would just call it District 2.
Right.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
about right.
Okay.
So if on my paper, I assign that district to be paired with two others, you could do the assign to button there, and that would then be the proposed.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think I would just, at the bottom of the window, I click Assign To, and I can assign it to District 1.
In that, oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And in that,
Oh, this is
that
brilliant.
data right above where you're at, what else are they tracking per district? Like, can you scroll down a little bit?
just,
Okay, yeah, I was
No
hoping that, no,
population,
the
yeah.
population there.
But population is baked in there somewhere. We just don't know how to get it yet.
Well,
in
if I
fact-
go
Here's the way
up,
to do it
Yeah,
with
you'd be able to
the
see the
source data.
district of how many people are in
if
it.
I go up,
you go.
Yes.
there's
Woo!
24,000 people in that district, in that
Perfect.
area.
All right, good, good,
Okay,
good.
cool.
yep,
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
And so
So that's North Linden.
I've scribbled on my paper combinations of a few. I just don't know if the populations will be what we need them to be.
What is the target population number?
Well,
Oh,
with
when-
this,
Was divided by 9.
Yeah,
She had it
7.
last week.
well, this and I should say that for the 2010 data, I think the total data is around 787,000 people. So these numbers will be a little bit smaller than the districts will be when we do them, because they're estimating a potential increase of at least like around 200,000 people that have moved to Columbus. So we're just in the 900,000 somewhere, just shy of a million people.
It's about 100,000 in district. Give or
But
take.
no, if they were distributed evenly, but I bet you there's certain districts that have grown
True, but no
lot
matter
more.
what, the percentage can only be 1% different.
For
So-
our maps.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
I'm trying to see what the target number is for the district. So as we're playing with the different.
If you pull that up
things.
again, Naya, this thing will do it for you. The math is done within that
Yes,
thing.
there you go.
It does the math for you.
87,448 is our target.
Yep.
Right, and then so, because like we might jump around a little bit and know that naturally these go together, so if we know like we're just trying to get to 90 to 100,000 in each, I'm just trying to,
87,448
thank
per.
you.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
yeah. Cool.
And this one is what? Can we see what North Linden is?
North Linden is 24,208
24?
people.
All right.
So you've already assigned North Linden to District 1.
Can you,
Well, no, this is an arbitrary, yes.
Just testing, yes.
your map is, your mic is movable, so if you can take your mic with you, that way we can hear you.
Right.
I would appreciate it.
So again, and because it looks like we can pool, I mean, I don't know if it's in that data set, but like, we know North Linden has 24,000 some. We need that list for every single district.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether it's an Excel format that we can have handy sitting with us here, because I think it's just always good to reference those numbers while we're looking at these maps.
Well, the thing is, this particular map, the actual numbers are going to continue to change, because you're gonna have
Right.
20,000.
Understood, but even just for this
Start.
2010
For a
map,
rough,
Okay.
Neat,
I mean, we
because
can go
we're-
through each district now and give you that population
That
data.
works too.
right, and then I'd like to have that in a document that we can always reference, at least for this first set of maps.
yeah. So that as we scribble at home, we could put the numbers in there and have a rough estimate.
For example, to illustrate that, I'm thinking about Northland and what is being called the Rocky Fork District.
Right.
Because that's my home.
Right.
And I know very well, and I'd like to keep the two of them together, but I know very well if we took them together, we'd probably
Too large.
exceed.
Yeah.
But the other thing I know is that the population, despite the fact it's almost the same size, I know the population's lower in
Much
Rocky
lower.
Fork.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know how much lower. And
So,
it'd be
so in
awfully
theory,
good.
it could connect and be within the limits, but might not.
Maybe,
Right.
maybe, but it'd be awfully good
So
to know
why
that
don't you
population.
just assign, just for a test, assign Rocky Fork to District 2?
District 1. Oh, 2, yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe we can remove North Linden and come back and,
Leave it.
no, leave it in, okay.
Yeah, make a few districts. So she'd have to zoom out, move over to there, click it.
Click it and then keep moving. Yep.
If I could ask you have Columbus Community selected. If you drop down on the place drop down, what is now in that drop down? What can you choose when you drop down place?
The top.
You can choose any of them.
Not so much there, that layer we already have selected, but if you go, I don't think that's where I want to be.
Oh,
Okay, if you choose under the place drop-down at the top of the left-hand pane, and yes, if you
Oh,
drop that
that
down.
goes into like,
Okay, that's still doing what it was doing before. I was thinking that might change context once you choose Columbus Communities. I see we have North Linden selected, but I'm wondering if you can get to a specific
Oh, yeah, she's there.
community.
She just has to click it, I think.
Yep. There it is.
Rocky Fork.
Okay.
That's Rocky
Yeah, I
Fork.
see, it's whatever is under your cursor, whatever you
Right.
click on.
yeah,
Okay.
and then you want to assign,
Assign it
Rocky
to
Fork to
District
District
Two.
2? Okay.
I think it's stuck in District 1.
No, I don't give her the option.
Oh, no, it
to
did.
set.
It is.
I'll do it.
Oh.
I'll do it again. Hold on. Assign to.
There we go.
Let me see. I'll go to undo. Okay, assign to District 2. First district. It's still doing the District 1. I don't know why it's doing that.
What happens if you double-click District 1 where it says District 1?
Maybe assign it to unassigned, yeah, exactly.
You did that.
I think that's a bug.
I don't know why it's doing that.
So my wife and I cannot work on the same computer at the same time. I don't see how 6 of us are going to do it.
Right. Well, that would be the beauty. If we were able to do it independently, we'd actually each have our own workspace. So we wouldn't be using the same workspace.
So what I can do to tell you how many people are in that district really quickly is just go to the calculator. Because I know that one is 24,208 people in North Linden.
Sorry, say that again for Lyndon?
Linden's 24,000, so that would be 32.
Wait, no.
32 in Rocky Fork.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, can you say that again? I'm trying to create this list while we work.
Yeah, just give me 1 second, please. It's 24,208 in North Linden. It's 32,208
Wait, I'm sorry, 24,000, okay?
It's 32,084 in the Rocky Fork area.
32.
84.
Maybe we just go from district to district and just get the population number right.
That might
Yep.
be the right approach.
That might be a good start. I'm gonna see if I can get it to assign to more than one district though, because I don't like that it does that. Because then we have to keep going back. So I'm going
Yeah.
to, let's see, unclick identify and see. Let's see, Columbus communities. This is Northwest 34. I'm gonna,
Northwest is what number on here?
It's 34.
Far northwest? Oh, 34. It's got how many?
I'm gonna see.
Okay.
Oh, got it. That makes sense. I think. No.
Could we unhighlight the other two and it'll default?
It's like she has to unassign them to assign them.
I'm just going
Is that
to
drop down over here? I wonder if
minus 93.
the one on the far right,
That says which one?
districts
Assigned?
proposed, assigned, comparison, attributes. Like I wonder if, because somewhere on these
There's-
data tables, it should give you like everything in one place.
Right.
There's 37,287 in Northwest.
37,000.
Say it again?
37,287.
287.
What if I can clear all of them out? I'm going to push clear, and we're going to hope that it's okay.
They still are assigned.
Right, now I gotta undo what I did, because I think that might have messed up.
Now they're all on this side, right?
I'm gonna try this again. Okay. This is. That's 51. So that is the airport area.
51 is the airport? Yes.
51,
Is airport.
And then,
51,000.
No, 51 is the
Oh,
community.
Area
part.
50, yeah.
yeah.
Area 51 is our
Area
airport.
51.
Why would they number it that? Okay, that's also DSCC probably.
That's hilarious.
There's only 74 people there. And I think. I found that clear is not as helpful as I thought it would be, so I'm not going to use that anymore. Identify from Columbus communities, and then click the Identify tab. That's North Linden again. So this is Far West.
36.
Get a number for?
The airport had 74 people.
Seriously?
That's what she said. Yep.
Airport, 74 people.
We can fit them in just about anywhere.
Easily, they wouldn't impact anything.
Oh, that's what I could do. Assign to.
If you were to change district at the top, where, under the Create tab, at the very top, near the binoculars in the toolbar, if you were to change to a different district,
Oh.
let's say,
That might work.
yeah, maybe District
But I love it.
3 or something, and then try to assign, I wonder if that might work.
Let's see. District 2.
That might be it. District 2 is highlighted, assigned to.
Boom.
You were
Okay.
amazing.
So which one is this? This is Far West?
Far West,
So that's 30,831.
831.
Far West?
Mm-hmm.
30,831.
Yeah, 30831.
Let's go Westland, because it's right here.
What's that?
Westland.
Westland?
I'll assign it to District 2, so we can kind of cluster some of them in that area, and then we
Yeah,
can just keep
connect it to
subtracting.
52 and let's see what we get as a roll-up. Yep. Yep. Actually,
64,209.
how about you add 37 to that as well?
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm getting all the numbers, so you have to subtract.
But yeah, what's the Westland number then?
Yeah, we need to assign it to its
Oh,
own district
okay,
to
I see what
see.
you're saying. Okay. You don't want to.
That's 33,378.
33.
So this is Westland,
Yes,
33378.
378.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then you wanted to add what number to that?
37, which is West Scioto.
West Side, yeah.
Is that like Marble Cliff? Like the quarry?
I think it's in there, yep.
Yeah.
That's 82,675.
82?
No, she's
Well, no,
gotta
that's
do
the
math.
total.
She's gotta
That's
do
the
some
sum.
math.
Okay, gotcha.
So minus Westland, minus Far West. That's 18,466.
18,000.
466.
And that's number
46.
37.
That makes
Yep.
sense, yeah. 36, 37, and, so which ones are making that up right now? 36, 37, and 52?
52.
36, 37, and 52.
Yep.
That's
What is-
Westland, West Iota, and Far West.
So 53 is probably gonna be too big, but maybe,
So that's like 82,000 people.
I see 53 and 59 going together.
so what is 54? Franklin 10, I forget what they said the number was, but that might fit.
I had 54, 60, and 69 together.
Franklin
I'm just
is
trying to get
54.
5 or 10 more thousand.
Gotcha,
People.
that's what you're saying.
It's like, there's 53, which is Hilltop, and then there's Franklinton. So this is,
68 might work. No, that's not enough people.
What are you trying to get? What number?
We're at 82,000 about right now.
To get to,
I thought the target was like 87 to 90. So it would have to break something.
I'm not to interrupt, but I was kind of looking at 68, kind of looks like a small sliver. That
Dublin Road.
Yeah, there's probably about 3 people that live.
Yes.
what's next?
Here's the fellow who sleeps at the post
did you
office.
get
Right.
68?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah,
add
let's
68?
put 68 there.
Let's see, yeah.
Or let's see what it
Let's
looks
see
like.
what, yeah.
It's not 68. 68 right there. That's Dublin Road corridor.
Yes.
And we want to add that to District 2.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't move at all.
Let's keep it there, though. I mean,
I don't know how
we
many people
still
out.
need more.
How many people?
Less than 1,000, probably less than a
There's
couple
one
hundred.
guy.
I'm gonna try to
who
add
leads the
them up.
post office, who's
So
now in
it's-
that district.
36, 37, 52, and now will be the 68. So I'll add those up and give you a total number.
We could add 43 to that if you want it.
It's 66.
You said 66?
Oh, you guys are saying numbers while she's trying to do math.
Where's 66?
66, I think, is the hill and Hilltop, isn't it, where the
I couldn't find it.
state of Ohio, I think it's state property around the Department of Transportation.
66 is the fairgrounds, if I had to bet.
Oh,
It
you
says
could be
State of
right.
Ohio, but it's over on the Hilltop area.
It's
No,
probably the state
66
fairgrounds.
Is right in the middle.
I
Oh,
couldn't-
is it?
I couldn't find it on the map.
That's probably
It's
the
right,
fairground.
it's between
That is the
44 and
fairgrounds.
45.
You're right. That's gotta be what that is.
Yeah.
You're
You
right.
can't add it.
Yeah, that doesn't help here.
You can't. Doesn't share border.
Yeah.
Who was 37, 18? That might.
It's 136 people in the Dublin Road corridor.
In the Dublin, 136?
That's 68, 136 people.
68 Dublin Road Corridor,
136.
136, and no change?
Not really, no.
So that's roughly 82,000 people in that area currently.
When they were giving testimony and stuff, I was feeling like Far West, Westland, and what is 53? Maybe the
West Ave?
Hilltop seemed similar when they were chatting, but I don't know. Like more so, like I would say, like the West Scioto feels more like the 5th by Northwest. If we're talking vibe, but they're not. Yeah.
Well, when I remember, I rewatched the West Side hearing today, and I think they were saying like Westland and Far West made sense to them, but they were saying the Hilltop didn't make sense because they have different issues than the Hilltop. I think that's what they had said
They
in their
did say that.
testimony.
But I do think 43, which is where I live, we're considered the Hilltop, but we could go either way.
Harrison West is considered the Hilltop?
Yeah.
No,
40
no, you
43?
said, you mean 53, not 40.
I was
Oh,
No,
okay,
fo-
53.
43 is Harrison West, is my
Harrison
neighborhood.
West is like
West is like-
Grant. It's,
Harrison West is like University District.
yeah.
No, no,
Yes,
no,
it
no.
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
It says that on this map, but my neighborhood has signs. It's called Harrison West. We have a neighborhood association.
Harrison West is like right next to Victorian Village,
Around Battelle.
literally.
Yeah.
I used to live right there too.
I'm gonna show you.
Maybe they extend, quote unquote,
Yeah.
but it's definitely down there by Battelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's on the other side of the Dublin Road corridor.
I'm trying to think. It's Fifth Avenue, north of no, it's west of Neal
You probably knew Mary
to the
Funk.
river.
You knew Mary Funk? Yes. And Harrison West was her neighborhood, too, so.
Do we want to add in Hilltop just for,
Can you put the Hilltop in a different district?
yep. Let's see, assigned to
'Cause
district.
that's a big number we're gonna need.
I feel like the west side and the north side would be the places where we could easily have different drafts of a map, just because of how big it is. And the other ones might be easier, but those ones, I think people have a lot to say.
So that's
60,585 in
By
Greater
itself,
Hilltop.
all by its lonesome.
Who is that?
Greater Hilltop, 60,585.
Yep.
So can somebody go through this Columbus communities and identify, at least based upon what Esri has there, the population of each one and put it in an Excel spreadsheet? And I would volunteer to do that if you would give me the keys to the car.
So I can't, can you speak into the mic so that the public can hear you and I can hear you too?
So can somebody go through all of these communities, 30 to 70, so 40 of them, and identify, at least based upon the latest population numbers we have, the population of each community, and then put that in an Excel spreadsheet? And as I said, I'd be willing to volunteer to do that if I had the keys to the car.
That is what we are doing now.
Yeah, I know, but it seems like it would be easier to have somebody do that and bring it back next week rather than sit through here, sit through doing it.
I would agree with Commissioner Cabinet. I don't know if this is a good use of our time.
Okay.
I would be fine. I think that this data is incredibly important to the work that we're about to do. If we could, staff could have a week to complete a spreadsheet for us to have for next week, I think that that would,
As I said, I'm willing to do it.
I'm already starting it.
Right?
Or, and I don't know, but possibly Michelle or someone may know of a way to extract a report, because the data is already there. It's
But either way, just
Yes.
starting our meeting with the raw numbers.
just
And-
a grid,
yeah.
that's really all we need, that just has neighborhood population.
I can work on that for next week.
That would be helpful. Because we realize it's tedious for you, especially to calculate, you know, the
Yeah,
total minus the last one we added, and
but also, like, this could be helpful as you are thinking of how to cluster. Like, I mean, because that's like the place first, you all to see how you can cluster, which we can do next week, or we can do some now. So what would you all like to do now if we are not going to do this?
So, and if we did that, we would then have, at least based upon these population numbers that we're doing, every citizen in Columbus allocated to one of these districts.
That's correct.
And we could then take that Excel spreadsheet, play with it, manipulate it, see what worked in terms of numbers. We then would have to deal with contiguity and adjacency and things like that.
You'll still have,
But that would be something good to, and in fact, instead of giving those numbers to us next week, if you could give us those numbers ahead of time and we could play with them before we came in next week, I think that'd be a big step forward.
that's kind of the missing link. As you've said, we can look online, we can see the geography, but without the population numbers, as I said, you can look at the size of a district or of a neighborhood or a community, you can't really tell a population by looking at it. That's kind of the key for us is,
yeah, you'll still have to, even with the Excel spreadsheet, you'll still have to utilize this map and compare the two. So as long as you're aware that you'll still have to utilize this as separate from your data, technically. But yeah, I'm happy to do that.
that'd be excellent.
That would be wonderful.
Great.
So what's next?
I mean, I have some things I combined, I just don't know the totals, and I don't know if we have the ability tonight to see if these combinations total up.
We can continue to play with what you combined.
Okay?
As is, we just won't go through each individual population data the way that we have been doing.
Okay.
Could I ask you to do one more for me and just assign Northland to a district so I have that number to think about? And actually, that's going to probably inform another comment for the good of the order, if that's okay.
Is Northland on here as, oh yeah,
Yes,
35,
Northland.
35, I was like, which one is
35,
that?
yes.
'Cause I was like, I wasn't seeing it. Okay. Are you fine with me assigning to District 3 for now and then just doing a subtraction, or do you want to, okay? Because that one only has.
I think he just wants
The
the raw
hilltop.
number,
Yeah.
ultimately. I was mixing Highland West with Harrison West. I live in Highland West.
I was,
See?
Right, we were like, that's not a thing.
Shame that my whole neighborhood knows, but I didn't know our name now.
Oops.
80,912.
80,912? So
Yeah.
everything we make has to at least be 80,912?
No,
plus
wait.
or
That's
minus 1%.
Northland?
Which,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay.
80,912.
Or we split it, right?
Wait, can you say that number again?
80,912.
091.
So here is a conundrum, perhaps, just as I'm thinking about this. Again, just on a micro level, thinking about how we put neighborhoods together and how we might logically divide them when we need to divide them and so forth. So that it definitely does prove that if I put Northland and the Rocky Fork districts together, we'd be in excess of our population limit.
Right.
But I can't take a portion of Rocky Fork and put it somewhere else because there's nothing contiguous to it.
Right. Exactly.
So I would really need to look at potentially taking a section of Northland, 35,
Connecting it to
and
one of
connecting
its
it perhaps with
Far
Clintonville
north,
or Linden,
or far
Or
north.
the far north.
or far north, yes.
And almost have, well, far north has to be with that or with Hayden, or far northwest. 'cause
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
by itself
but-
as
but
well.
By virtue of the way that
Yeah.
our charter describes we connect, and they have to be contiguous or adjacent to, yeah, you're right.
And the interesting thing is that my knowledge of Northland and Rocky Fork,
More
as you
connected.
know, the Rocky Fork district, the Hamilton Road, et cetera, is very different from the neighborhoods of traditional Northland inside I-270.
Correct.
Most of it, anyway. And so that's an example of where we may need to make some choices that may not seem very logical.
Well, no, they'll be logical based on the information we have, but maybe to others that don't have that
We
information,
may need to
it
explain
would
our
seem
logic. yes.
illogical to them, yes.
But actually, as I think about it, the Northland neighborhoods north of, well, there's not a lot north of Schrock, but there is some, probably might make more sense to be connected to the far north.
Or North Linden, and/or, yeah.
So I can see ways to, again, think
Right.
about similarities and connections to communities. But this is a clear example of where we would need to
Well,
disrespect an
And-
area commission, although we're not an area commission, but a
And-
boundary, traditional boundary of one representative group, it would have to be probably chopped up in multiple pieces based on population and characteristics.
and you point out something that's going to be interesting is when we look at the border areas, it's going to force us at times to connect the area adjacent to a border differently than maybe we would have wanted to by virtue of it being connected to a border area that has no choice
That,
of who
yes,
it's connected
it
to.
can't be connected to anything else.
Right, right.
Exactly.
So that might be a good strategy, is to start with almost like a puzzle. Start with the corners and work our way in.
Certainly.
It is a puzzle.
Once we have the numbers, that would be one strategy and approach. So are we gonna keep connecting, or are we gonna,
I'm done for tonight.
you're done?
I think, yeah, as far as getting the numbers, I think we'll,
So once we have, so we've already explored several strategies we might use as we look at the numbers on our own. Yeah, I think that makes sense. What's the village that I've been hearing a lot about in the news? It begins with an H. Is it where the Tuskegee Airmen once lived?
Hanford,
Hanford Village? Where is that on this map?
it's south side, 06, east of Parsons, south
So
of Whittier.
64 probably?
far south.
It's not that far south. It's really not that far south. It's in 63, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Hanford Village Park?
Yep.
It looks like it's just west of Alum Creek Road between Livingston and Maine.
Is it really?
That's further north than I would have thought. So that would be
43205.
56, or 56 or 62.
Yeah, 56.
56 near east? Okay. Yeah,
Which follows because that's where the people were.
right.
It just occurred to me, one other thing it might be interesting to look at, for whatever value it has, maybe it has none, would be to look at major parks and recreation centers and where they're located. I don't recall right offhand how many of them there are. I should know that since I used to be on that commission, but I'm just wondering if that might be also informative in terms of.
It could be. We heard several of the folks that spoke share that they didn't have a park
Yes,
or a rec center in their neighborhood. But definitely, I might even be able to be a layer we add at some point.
yeah.
Okay. So we have some things that'll guide our work. We have some thoughts that will guide our work. We'll await these numbers, and as we get the numbers, we'll come back and have some proposed ways of dividing up, keeping in mind that the borders might be an effective way to work our way in from, so that we don't paint ourselves into a corner, so to speak. Considering that without the numbers, we're going to be doing a lot of busy work, I'm going to propose that we adjourn our meeting. Is there anybody else that has anything for the good of the order? And if not, I call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We made progress.
Excellent.
I
So-
just,
Oh, go ahead.